Hey everybody, it's Mark Breer. I just tried to start a video a minute ago and lost my connection, and then I can't delete it on my phone for some reason. I don't know what the deal is with that. But anyway, we'll just start over and I'll delete that other video later on. But so I want to talk to everybody about what we got going on, what the Norna Society has going on. We've been on Telegram having some just amazing discussions. Like seriously, if you want to All right. For some reason, I keep losing my connection. I usually get it on this side of the park. I usually get pretty good connection. If it keeps going in and out, we'll just work through it. All right. So anyway, like I was saying, if you want to learn more about this way of life and really get into the ins and outs of the stories and the culture and the traditions, I mean, the talks that we're having are like epic. It's just crazy, right? So, another thing we got going on, I've been working really hard on the Kvasir Academy, which is our online university we're going to build. I've been doing the ritual course, a little bit here, a little bit there. It's going to take me a while to get this one course going, but once we get this course and all right, see if I can come over here and sit down where we have a steady connection here, because I'm not really getting a good connection today for some reason. Don't know why that is, but yeah, I think we're good right here. So anyway, the thing is so we got this Kvasir Academy. We're building that. We're working on all of the different aspects of it. I've been teaching people how to make courses in it. I'm trying to get all kinds of stuff together for that. Then we have the study guide for the Asatru Edda has been released, which is going to be a big deal. I mean, we've had that study guide for a long time, but we were kind of putting it out ourselves, and it just got to be too much, so we stopped putting it out. And now we finally published it, so it's on Amazon right now. You can get it. It helps you to work through the Asatru Edda and learn more about it. And it has study questions and vocabulary exercises and all kinds of stuff like that. All right, so that's been a big deal. Yeah, so that those three things, the Telegram thing has been a big deal, and then we've been working on the Asatru Edda study guide. We got the Kvasir Academy, the Runic Edda. We've been working on that. I finally got to visit the binder and talked with them, and they showed me how they're going to set up everything with a we're going to put gold leaf on the front, and it's going to be amazing. Like I'm telling you, that Runic Edda is going to be a big deal. The book that they were comparing it to and helping me to make comparisons with is a book that they actually put into the Smithsonian. So they're going to be modeling it after that, which is pretty cool. And so just a lot of cool stuff we got going on. We've always got something going on, but I think over the next 6 months, next year, it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a lot of stuff happening. So the thing is, today I want to talk about is cults of personality. This has been something that we've been going over and we've been discussing a lot within our Telegram talks, which have been just, like I said, just amazing. It's been a really beneficial thing for everybody involved. These Telegram talks are just, it's just the next level for us. I haven't really been involved in social media at all. I've just been getting on these, and talking, and every now and then I'll jump on and promote what we're doing and try to get other people involved, because I want everybody to see this. I want everybody to see like how inspiring this stuff is. So anyway, and one of the things we've been talking about is cults of personality. Now, I want to first define what a cult of personality is, right? A cult of personality is basically when you have the idea in your mind that what a person is saying is valid based on who they are rather than what they are saying, right? That's what a cult of personality is. It's like when you have celebrities who tell us, their opinions on politics or culture and stuff like that, and it's supposed to be somehow valid because they're a celebrity. It's like, who are you? What do you know about anything? I mean, you're just a person who reads lines on a page. It doesn't matter to us, And so that's what it is. That's a cult of personality. And what we're talking about is how these cults of personality can be a hindrance towards trying to gain deeper understanding of our sources, of our ancient histories, of our lore, of the Eddas, of the sagas, of all these different things. There's these cults of personalities that have sort of blocked us in achieving the things that I feel and all of us feel that the heathen community could be reaching so much higher levels with, right? And and we really have three. We have three cults of personality. These are academic cults of personality, organizational cults of personality, and cultural cults of personality. And I'll explain each one, okay? So the academic cult of personality is basically built on the idea that what a person says is valid simply because they have gone to a university and they have letters behind their name. Now, we're not against education. Higher education is important. It's a very big deal. It's something that you need. You know, you need in a society. You need to have educated people, and there's a lot of fields where it's necessary. However, the thing is, though, is that if you have something like this, right, like where you're actually trying to build a religious system or a belief system, you know, I think I feel personally that it's more important to have people who are actually sympathetic and or are followers of this belief system who are, you know, putting it together and examining it and looking at it and you know, and sort of building the foundation for it, you know, when they follow the actual belief rather than people who don't or are opposed to it or have some kind of bias against it. And so when these people have, you know, these ideas that, well, this guy, he's read all the same books that you have. You've literally read every source there is, and then some sources beyond that, and more so. And you have all of this knowledge, and you've gained all of this information from these sources. However, this other guy who's read the same exact books that you have, his opinion means more to you, more than yours, because he's got some, you know, piece of paper in his hand. He went to a university. He paid for his college. He did, you know, did all his stuff and got his piece of paper, and that's what matters. And that's garbage. You know, that's nothing. And so for me, you know, what I say and what we're talking about on this is that if you have, you know, this notion that a person has an opinion that means more than yours simply because they have a piece of paper, then that's really, you know, that's really nothing, because the whole idea of it falls apart when you can sit there and first poke holes in a lot of the arguments that are presented, and you can look at and examine more deeply what's being said. And the idea that a person who went to a school, you know, he has more validity than you, and he gets more, you know, clout than you because of his education, of him going to school. It really takes away from the idea of debate, right? Because what it does is it creates a consensus. It tells people that, hey, you know, we are the scholars, we are the academics, we created the consensus, and what we say goes, and that's it. And it doesn't leave room for debate. Now, what we're saying is that what you should be looking at is arguments, right? Look at arguments. Look at what people say. Look at the evidence. Look at how they break it down. Don't look at what, you know, just because a person has a piece of paper or because they went to university. Look at their work. You know, does it make sense? Is it logical? Can we poke holes into it? And if we can, then that should be recognized and looked at, you know? So, you know, and that's really what we're doing. We're looking at the idea of, you know, developing an educational system for heathens, for folkish heathens, so that we can have a body of academics for ourselves that doesn't, you know, contradict our way of life and our traditions, right? And so when we rely on academics who aren't of our belief system, who have no caring for our belief system, it's like, do they really have our best interests in mind? Because we got to remember that a lot of these guys come from a background that, you know, pretty much puts them at odds with a lot of this belief, where they believe that, you know, that they have like political agendas or religious agendas or ideas that doesn't support this. They don't like it. They see our ancestors as like savages or barbarians or something like that, and it really takes it away from them, okay? So the second cult of personality we're going to talk about is organizational cults of personality. And this is a big one. This is a big one. And I don't want to take away from the people. I'll try to see if we can get going again, because I got somebody coming over here. It takes away, I don't want to take away from what people have done, you know. I have a lot of respect for a lot of people who have built these organizations and who have done the things that they've done. I have a lot of respect for the groups out there, right? However, my thing is that simply because you built an organization and that organization got popular and you wrote some books that basically set forth the dogma of that organization, you know, sort of the code that that organization runs by, doesn't mean that that code is authentic or has anything behind it, or that it's based on anything, or that it gets to be considered an authority. Like some people look at it almost like primary sources, you know, and some of this stuff that gets put out there. And like I said, I'm not knocking what people do. I mean, some of these people that are being venerated in this way are my good friends, you know, some of them very good friends, like almost family, you know. So I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to knock them personally, and I'm not at all, not in any way, shape, or form. But what I'm saying is that they, you know, they're human. They're human beings. They came up with ideas, and those ideas were great. But you know, that doesn't mean that those ideas are authoritative, right? It doesn't mean that those people couldn't possibly be wrong. They can be. They could be wrong, you know. And there's all kinds of ways that we can start to, you know, reach higher levels of understanding of this information that we have and these sources that we have. And you know, it doesn't mean that we're taking away from them. It just means that we're trying to build more. It means we're trying to build, you know, more. We want to delve into this as far as we can. We want to learn more. We want to explore this and develop systems and ideas that go beyond anything we've ever seen before. And that's exciting. We should all want that. Everybody should want that, you know. But the first thing we have to do in order to do that is we have to say, hey, you know, just because this has been something that we've done for a long time, and it was the foundation of this organization or this group, doesn't mean that we can't move forward, right? That we can't say, hey, you know, that was good for that time, but maybe we need to look, you know, beyond that and consider what we're doing, you know, outside of that spectrum. Because that just because these people built an organization doesn't mean that that organization is doing everything that's perfectly right or authoritative, right? And that's really what it is, because a lot of, and I'm saying this because I see people do that all the time, you know, with all sorts of things, tenets and ideas and stuff like that were really nothing more than the beliefs of different organizations, you know. I'll give you an example. I'll give you one example, right? Now, there's a lot of people who talk about the differences between Odinism and Asatru, right? And that's a debate that's kind of raged on for a while, right? And I wanted to look at this objectively, you know, because I don't really care. It doesn't affect me one way or another. I don't care about the exploration into the differences between Odinism and Asatru, because it doesn't affect me, because I see both of them as just modern terms. It's just words people use, right? And all of the differences, almost every single one of the differences that people cite, you know, what is this? People popping up stuff on my thing. All of the differences that people cite are simply differences between organizations, and that's all they are. They're just a difference between organizations. It's not a difference, any sort of doctrinal difference. It's not any sort of, you know, like a sectarian difference or anything like that. It's just like, my organization does this, your organization does that, and we are saying that these are the differences in religion. And that's not even how that works, you know. How your organization runs things is always going to be different from other people. That's just the way it is, you know. Your organization is going to be different from mine, and that doesn't mean that it gets to create some sort of sectarian difference, right? And that's all I'm saying, is that, you know, and if you want to create sectarian differences, I'm not opposed to that. I mean, I look at the Hindus; they have like 5,000 sects of their belief. You know, good for them. But unless you have something concrete, something doctrinal that you can say, hey, you know, this is a difference, then otherwise it's just semantics. It's just people bickering between groups or something, you know. And the third and final cult of personality that we're going to talk about is the difference, like with people who grow up in different cultures. Okay, I've seen this happen before, and I don't want to disparage anybody, you know, because I know I have a lot of respect and a lot of admiration for the history of our homelands, right? Of Europe, Scandinavia. It tears my heart up to see some of the stuff that's going on over there. But I mean, I look at that as like, you know, that's the land of our people and something that should be revered and respected. However, just because you're born in those countries doesn't mean you're an authority on anything, you know? And I see a lot of these guys do that, like, oh, I'm from this country and I'm from that country, therefore I have more connection to this than you do. No, you don't. I'm sorry, you don't. That's nonsense. You know, the thing is that we're all using the same books, the same sources, the same ideas. We're all trying to connect to the same bloodline. We all have, you know, and I get that some people might have a better grasp of the language, but I mean, basically, by some of these guys' standards and what they say, the whole idea of it, I'm gonna turn around here, oh, facing the sun. The whole idea of it is basically that like any Joe Blow walking down the streets of Stockholm knows more about Asatru or Odinism than a guy who's been studying it his whole life, just because he was born there. And it's like, that's ridiculous. You know? And I see guys doing it. I saw a guy on a thread a couple weeks ago, man. And there was this kid, and he was new to heathenry. And he was a nice kid. He wasn't bothering anybody. He was just, you know, he was telling everybody about how he found the gods and appreciated it and, you know, wanted to learn more. And he was excited and all that stuff, you know. And there was this dude from Norway who just laid into him, you know. Like, you know, who just really ripped him a new one. Just like, how dare you, American, try to claim this and all this stuff. And, you know, man, what the hell's going on here? I'm gonna have to, I don't know. People are talking on the thing. But the thing is that, you know, just because you're from Scandinavia doesn't make you an authority on anything. You're just a person just like the rest of us. And you don't know any more than anybody else, because we all have the same books and we're all trying to build off the same theories and the same ideas and you know, and that's all it is. And so like, so some people might be asking, you know, like thinking, well, Mark, I mean, aren't you, you're trying to create a cult of personality around yourself, aren't you? And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to do that at all. I don't want anybody to follow me and listen to me in any way, shape, or form. Don't ever, like if I die, because I know like sometimes people, after they die, their work gets popular. Don't listen to me because of who I am, right? Listen to my work, listen to my conclusions, listen to what I say, listen to how I debate and the theories that we're presenting, because that's what matters to me. That's what's important to me, is the work, right? And the connections that we've done and the things that we've made and the accomplishments we've had. I don't want people to think I'm something great, something better than everybody else. I'm out here to serve my folk, serve my family, serve my faith, and do the best that I can towards that end. So, you know, that's how I see it. And I think that that's how you have to look at things. You have to sort of, you know, wipe off the rose-tinted glasses and be like, hey, you know, what does this say? Where does this come from? What's the origin of this idea, of that idea? Who developed this and why? And rather than just saying, well, this dude that I really like, he came up with this, so it's great. I like it, and that's what I'm gonna follow. You know, question things. Ask questions. Say, hey, where does that come from? Where does this come from? Where'd you get this? Where did you get this idea? You know, and you'll start to see a lot of things open up. And you also see a lot of people's houses of cards will start to crumble, because once you start asking those questions, a lot of people start getting mad. They're like, how dare you question me? I'm from here, or I have this, or I started this group, you know? And it's like, when you got a person like that, I don't even talk to that. I don't even deal with that. I just do my thing, and we build the society based on that principle, based on that idea that we're not out to build cults of personality. We're out to build a foundation for our folk and for our heritage and for our children. That's what we're doing, and that's all that matters to us. All right, so I'm gonna go. You guys take it easy.